All right, we're live. It's the Android Headline Show, episode 92. Big changes for 2015. Kind of tweaking some things with the show. We'll get into that a little bit, but my name's Jeremiah. I am joined tonight by Alex, and Nick is finally back after a couple weeks being MIA. So, you guys want to say what's up?
What's up, everybody?
Yay, nice to be back.
It's good to have you, man. We missed you for sure. So yeah, Nick is back after CES, and then last week he was out, and so we're stoked on that. The stuff that we're tweaking, just real quick, so you guys know, we're gonna try and shorten up the show a little bit. Try and keep it to about a half an hour or so. Just people's attention spans are shorter than an hour and a half. People don't have enough time to listen to an hour and a half show every week, so we're gonna trim that up a little bit. Kind of focus on some big stories throughout the week. We may miss something that you want to talk about or you want to hear about. So let us know, what you think. We're going to kind of tweak things as we go. But that's the big thing. We're just kind of shortening the show up a little bit to try and make it easier for you to listen. If it's not so long, you can actually get the whole show in. So yeah. We're also going to be kind of sharing hosting duties. You guys get bored of me talking all the time, hosting everything, talking about all the topics and leading off. So I'm going to pass the reins to Alex to start off to talk about some news stuff.
So a report came out yesterday from the information about Google actually getting serious about being a wireless provider, somewhat more like a MVNO, like Straight Talk or Cricket or those other companies, and they're supposed to be using Sprint and T-Mobile's networks. Basically, the project I think it's codenamed like Nova. Still waiting for the thing to load up, but it's supposed to be called Nova. A report came out today that they've signed a deal with Sprint to sell their wireless on their network. I'm hoping they'll, expand it to all four instead of just, being stuck with T-Mobile or Sprint. But as somebody said in the comments on our post, they're choosing the two carriers that offer unlimited data, also the two smaller carriers. So we'll see where that goes. Hopefully we get some good stuff out of there, but they want to provide, low cost, basically low-cost wireless carriers for everybody. So that's what came out yesterday and today. And then over to LG, their sales are supposed to go up 20% from 2013 to 2014 because of the G3 and the rest of the G line. They sold a bunch of G3s, which probably isn't all that surprising. And then they added some other phones like the G Flex, or some of those, the G Vista, some other low-end stuff. Kind of like what HTC's been doing, having their flagship, and then some other low-end or mid-range stuff along with it, and all of those are selling pretty well. So it's nice to see LG, turning things around, becoming a pretty big player, and well, not just Android, because they also have WebOS, even though that's just for watches and TVs right now.
Yeah, this Google MVNO has got me interested because, like you said, they've decided to partner with the two smaller carriers, which we saw kind of some of that with some of the Nexus phones. That they were partnering with smaller manufacturers. Samsung got theirs as well, but part of the goals with that was to kind of spread the love around, spread the wealth around. And it seems that Google is doing that with this MVNO thing too.
Yeah, because when they started with Samsung for the Nexus S, Samsung wasn't, they were big, but not big as they are now. Like in between S1 and S2, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, so they were, Samsung's always been big because they make everything, but they weren't as big as they are now in the mobile space.
And today, after we heard that the Sprint deal had been finalized, it doesn't mean that they're not partnering with T-Mobile. It just means that the Sprint deal is done. We also heard, and I forget where I read it, that we might be looking at a device or devices that work across both networks. Like the Nexus 6 supports all four networks for U.S. carriers. So maybe we'll see the Nexus 6 on this Google MVNO or a similar device. Maybe it's just Nexus devices. We're still waiting for everything to kind of shape up and the news to come out. But we might be looking at some kind of setup where you buy a phone on Google or from Google, and it'll work on both Sprint and T-Mobile, depending on which works better in your area, which I'd be okay with. Sprint isn't great, but I'm sure there's some spots where Sprint has coverage and T-Mobile doesn't, so that could work for a lot of people. And it's an interesting take on kind of breaking down some barriers and really, kind of slapping the big guys in the face a little bit. Verizon has never had a really good relationship with Google. And so for Google to go to these two smaller carriers and say, let's team up, let's also essentially combine your two networks into something that our customers can use.
They're basically doing what the FCC didn't want Sprint and T-Mobile to do.
Which is combined, right. And they're doing it in a way that's more of like roaming agreements.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. The LG stuff, I mean, I'm glad they're growing. Samsung's losing ground and LG's picking it up.
Everybody seemed to pick it up last year except for Samsung. Even HTC, I don't know if they returned to profitability last quarter or they got really close to it. I know they sold a lot more phones last quarter than they were expecting.
Yep. Well, cool. That's those were the two, I guess, big stories this week that we had to talk about. Man, I'm pretty excited to see what happens with this Google MVNO. It may not be great, but it'll be some competition, and it'll definitely be interesting. So cool. Well, Nick, you want to tell us about some hardware stuff this week?
Sure. We have a couple little HTC M9 rumor roundups. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this because I don't know how legit any of these are. Alex and I were kind of chatting about that a little earlier. We basically got 3 models going here. So you got the one from, I think it was last week with the square camera on the back, right?
There's actually a 4th one because Fandroid got leaked pics today. There's I think it's a 5-inch HTC one. Then there's like a 5.5-inch one.
Yep.
Doing the one and I guess one Max. Even though I think the leaks or code names are the HEMA and the HEMA Ace Plus or something like that. So there's that. But yeah, there's so many different leaks, different prototypes.
The render with the square camera on the back, I read was a fake. Like it's just an M8.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
It's like a fan render. It's not a official like press render. So.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, there was one that BGR posted said it was a leak and it was just a fan render that they published a few months ago.
Clicks, man. Just trying to get some extra clicks.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I know the picture that we had of that one that looked like it was in somebody's hand, it didn't show the duo camera, but it didn't show the whole body anyway. So
yeah.
The one we saw, I think it was yesterday or the day before, had a circular camera on the back that was obviously bigger than the one on the M8. And
it's huge.
Yes, it's huge. And it had the duo camera, the little one above it. So you have kind of the best of both, and then the body itself looks exactly like an M8 on the back. And then on the front, I don't know, it looks weird. Like it's like similar to an M8, but somewhere in between that and one of the Desire lines. It's like it looks almost plastic or something on the front. I think you were saying a faux metal.
Yeah, that's one of them that we saw.
Yeah, so I don't know how much stock I take in any of those pictures. What it does seem like to me, though, is that they're probably going for the 5 and the 5.5 inch, like they tried doing with the M7 and the One Max. What the heck was it called, Alex? You reviewed it.
It was the One Max, but it was like a 4.7 inch and a 5.9 inch.
Yeah, it was
a bigger gap.
Crazy difference.
And with the boom sound speakers, it was more of like almost a 7-inch phone, basically.
Yeah, just huge stuff. So and I don't even know how to trust the rumors on the camera. I see a lot of 20 megapixel ones. Who the heck knows? At least the past couple of years, HTC has not been well known for its super high res cameras and stuff. So
it seems like everybody's using a 20 megapixel Sony sensor in 2015.
That does seem to be the case, and
Except
I wouldn't
for
really
LG.
be surprised. It's a great sensor, so we'll see how that goes. So at that point, it'll be all down to software. Yet again, we'll be back to the 2013, 13 megapixel Sony sensor again, in all the phones kind of thing.
But HTC's, I mean, their camera software and some of the stuff that they've done with it has been pretty good. And
Yes.
they really had to kind of dive into the software side for the ultra pixel camera to make that work properly.
Yeah.
So that's a good move, I think.
Yeah, I love HTC's software in every way. So if they can just nail that freaking camera for once, I could actually consider buying their stuff. So
They just need to change the app drawer because it scrolls the wrong way.
Yeah, I don't necessarily like everything they do, but most of the stuff they do is very, very good. It's lean, it's very well designed, and it looks good. So, I don't know. Next stuff was Snapdragon 810 and the Adreno 430 GPU that is paired with it. We saw some benchmarks today. We got a guy writing that stuff up now, but I guess a little teaser here. The 430 beats everything. And it doesn't just beat everything, it beats everything running at 4K when everything else is still running at either Quad HD or 1080p, which is ridiculous. So you have a number of things going on there. Moving from the 801 to the 805, Qualcomm more or less just beefed up the same CPU. It's still the same 32-bit CPU from the 801, just a little higher clocked. But it's got the newer 420 GPU, whereas in the Snapdragon 810, you have a brand new 64-bit CPU. It's an octa-core, and you have the Adreno 430, which is a beefed-up version of the new GPU that was in the 805. Hopefully, you kept all those numbers straight. So we have all that stuff, plus, again, it's 64-bit. So now you've got 64-bit processor, much newer processor, newer GPU, all running on 64-bit Lollipop. So it's massive, massive performance improvements. Question is, do we need this on the phone? At this point, I'm starting to agree with NVIDIA, although I don't really want it in my car. So we part ways there. But what's that?
Dude, this thing's gonna scream.
Yeah, we're getting to the point now where it's like, I don't even. What the heck are we gonna do with all this? Is this like these things are almost more powerful than our computers now? Almost makes no sense.
Yeah, and depending on what it does to the cost, we'll hit a wall, and there'll be a bit of a dip as consumers make the decision to buy an older phone because it performs just as well. Like there's a value proposition here that that comes into play now that we're already seeing it with people buying mid-range phones instead of always going right to the newest high-end device. Whether it's now with iPhones, that's just the market that they've built. But with Android and with like Windows Phone, you don't have to buy the latest and greatest to have a good experience anymore.
Yeah, and that's really good to see too. What's up, Alex?
I was gonna say I could live with a Snapdragon 400 processor in my phone. Well, not
And-
if it's a QHD phone though.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
And that's
But-
little Q, I'm sure, right?
No, big Q.
Oh,
So
okay.
it'll be too laggy.
I couldn't live with little Q either on a 400.
Well,
on anything.
If it's like a 2-inch phone, it'll be okay. But
No, man.
Yeah.
I reviewed a blue phone, a 6-inch blue phone that had it was 1080p and a Snapdragon 400, and it was all kinds of laggy. So,
I don't think I've used a Snapdragon 400 on a 1080p device. I think everything's for 720p for me.
yeah, or lower, and it's fine for those. So, but yeah, and that's the thing. We've got some new devices that are coming out this year with Snapdragon 610s. And it's going to be just fine for most people.
And that's 64-bit.
Yeah, I thought I dropped out there. Sorry. The 64-bit, the lower one, is it the 410 or the 415? I can't remember the number.
I think it's the 415.
Yeah, I was leaning towards 415. I don't too many numbers anymore.
Because the 410 came out a little while ago.
Yeah, but we're already seeing some of those 415s or whatever the 64-bit 400 series should be coming out pretty soon in phones, and that'll be really interesting to see, especially again with 64-bit Lollipop on board.
Actually, I think it's the 410 and the 615.
Oh, yes, you're right. It is 410,
Because
615.
HTC put out a Desire device late last year with it was a 400 series, but it was 64-bit, and it was before Lollipop was even announced, I think. Because I think it was at IFA.
That was the the Desire 510, because I reviewed that on Cricket. Had the Yep, you're right, 64-bit Snapdragon 410.
Yep.
So, and that was fine. Now the display on the Desire 510 is pretty low res, but
Yeah, most of the Desires are like that, except for the Desire I, and that's probably about it.
the processor was fine. So, you're right, Alex. Do we need that kind of speed and power in our phones? What's it going to do to the battery? Yeah, we'll have to see.
That's why we have 3,000 milliamp batteries already, and it's still hard to last a day.
What's really going to be interesting to see is on the G Flex 2, which comes out next week, I believe, in Korea. I'm really looking forward to seeing battery life tests on that because, like I said, in this benchmark, you had the thing running at 4K and it still beat everything out performance-wise. The G Flex 2 only runs at 1080p. So just seeing that processor zip through that stuff, no problem. Theoretically, you should have great battery life.
Well, you should have great battery life anyways because it's a 3,000 milliamp battery. So it's basically the G3 but with a lower res display.
And the G3's got good battery life, so
Well, when it first came out, it did. After a while, it started to get lower and lower.
Yeah,
we're out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how that release goes, and then of course you got the Mi Note Pro coming out in a couple of weeks with the Snapdragon 810 as well. I think at this point, I feel like the rumors of delays of the 810 have pretty much been squashed. And I know for a while we were seeing, oh yeah, maybe the Galaxy S6 won't have the Snapdragon 810. Maybe they're going to go Exynos. I don't think it's going to happen either.
I think they're still going to try and go Exynos if they can. If they have if they have their newest one with LTE built in, then they're going to go Exynos. But usually they don't. So it's usually Exynos for the 3G markets and Snapdragon for the LTE markets.
Yep. Yeah, I think so far the Note 2 is the only phone that I can think of that they released that had Exynos everywhere.
Usually what happens is like a week or two after they announce like the S6 or the Note 5 or whatever.
Oh, Alex, did we lose you?
I'm still here.
Cut out for a sec.
Usually like a week after they announce the phone, their newest Exynos gets, LTE support. So that's probably what's going to happen this time around.
Yep.
Well, we'll see. I mean, that's definitely looking forward to seeing if those G Flex 2s are actually heating up, as some people were saying, or if that was just nonsense.
I think it's just from them using it at CES.
I'm going for nonsense, but
Yeah, That,
I
that's
mean,
pr- there's a million people touching those things under bright fluorescent, bright lights all day. The phones don't ever get a break. Who knows if those are even production level
they're not.
devices?
They're not.
But with production software on them. So yeah, whatever. Talk to me in a month when everybody has review units in their hands, and then we'll see how well they're holding up and how cool they're staying.
Yeah, exactly. I think that about wraps it up for me. Those are the two or three most important little hardware things I can think of.
Cool. Yeah, those are the big ones. Well, let's talk about some software then. Two things with apps this week. And I'm actually going to lead off with this WhatsApp story because I think that affects more people. If you use WhatsApp Plus, stop it. Because WhatsApp has issued a cease and desist to WhatsApp Plus, and they're also banning WhatsApp Plus users it's just a temporary 24-hour ban. But yeah, WhatsApp Plus, if you're not familiar with it, is a third-party WhatsApp chat client. It just adds some extra features and stuff to WhatsApp, and WhatsApp themselves are not too happy with somebody else having access to their customers. So, hey, Alex, have you noticed anything or do you use WhatsApp Plus?
I used to for a little while, like a couple of years ago, but it was just too much of a hassle to use, especially as often as I change phones. Basically, you have to download WhatsApp, sign in that way, and then you have to download WhatsApp Plus and sign in through that, and then delete the old WhatsApp app and start using WhatsApp Plus. It's just too much of a hassle for me. But it has some really nice features, like there's some different themes. There was a hollow theme back then, that was before Material Design. There's all kinds of other muting and blocking features and stuff like that. Basically, WhatsApp Plus was not an authorized app for WhatsApp, and WhatsApp didn't like that. I guess they had an open API so people could get to their servers, and that's basically what was going on there. So people started noticing Tuesday that they're getting banned for 24 hours if they're using WhatsApp Plus. And then Wednesday they came out with their desktop client. It's just a Chrome extension. So now you can message people from your desktop now. Before you had to use your phone. You can't use a tablet either. So that was nice to see that come out. And they also announced the WhatsSim, which is basically just a SIM card that'll give you access to WhatsApp anywhere in the world, in any country, for free. You just have to pay for the SIM, and I think it's like 10 euros. So that's all you have to pay. There's no monthly fee for it. Which is it's a pretty good idea, especially if you're traveling to Europe or something. You don't want to pay for roaming data, but you just need a message, your friends or family or whatever, let them know you got there safely. Just use the WhatsApp and it's free. But they've been up to a lot of stuff this week.
Yeah, that's crazy. I hadn't heard about the WhatsApp or the Chrome extension.
Yeah, came out yesterday.
But that WhatsApp that's pretty sweet, man.
Oh yeah.
If all you need is that chat app and it's free, you just buy the SIM.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And they didn't have any excluded countries, so it looks like it works in every country.
Wow. Yeah, that's huge. That is huge. They're already the biggest chat client. So
they have 700 million monthly active users or something like that. I don't think it's billion. I think it's million.
Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. So yeah, if you're using WhatsApp Plus, get up off that before they give you the boot.
Yep.
The other thing this week was Twitter launched a service called Digits. It's kind of it resembles two-factor authentication, but it does away with the need for passwords to log into apps or services, websites. Basically, a developer would implement it in their app or on their website, and then instead of using a login and digits will sit side by side with like your Facebook and Google logins when you go to log into a website or an application or whatever. But the developer implements it, and then when you go to log in with digits, Twitter will send you an SMS shortcode. You type that code in, that confirmation code, and then you're logged in. It doesn't use OAuth or any other kind of login service, and it doesn't require a password. So it identifies you just with your phone and your phone number using that confirmation code. And it's one of the biggest issues, and definitely the biggest security risk these days, is your password. You know, people have so many passwords that they make really easy to guess passwords. So this story about digits, Twitter officially announced it yesterday. I saw another story, and we see these every year, from some security research company that they did, surveys on people's passwords, and the most popular passwords are still 1234566 or the word password. So people are not really able to remember really long passwords that are secure, and so this is a way to kind of kill off passwords. We've seen some other services that do similar things, but this is a big one from Twitter, and they're making it open and easy for developers to use it. So it'll be good. It'll be good to get rid of passwords. I'm all about I want to see a lot more biometric stuff.
Yes, I would approve, because I am one that is very guilty of having a list of passwords somewhere, and probably shouldn't do that, but when you got different 20-character passwords for everything, it's impossible to remember them.
Yeah, there's way too many passwords. I think I put in probably about 15 to 20 different passwords during the day, every day, for different things that I have to use.
You guys, I use LastPass. Do you guys use any kind of a password manager?
I used it for a little bit, and then I stopped.
Oh man, I love it.
I've never actually tried one, so maybe I should.
There's a couple. 1Pass, I think, is the other one. I think it's 1Pass.
The LastPass is the one I used, and I'll tell you how long ago it was. Back when I actually had like an iPhone 3GS, or maybe it was a 4. I think it was 3GS though, so it was a long time ago.
All right, it's not 1Pass; it's 1Password.
Yeah,
that's
I think LastPass is the other one.
Well, yeah, LastPass is the one that I use.
There's
1Password is like a standalone app. I like LastPass because there are browser extensions, and it's free to use on the web. It's $1 a month if you want to use it on your phone also. So $12 a year I pay for it. And dude, you remember one master password. So I have that one crazy password that I remember that's just insanely difficult with characters and different things. And then you can auto-generate passwords, and they're completely random, so they're a lot harder to guess. But you don't have to remember them, because you just use the LastPass extension or the mobile app to manage everything and to log in. But it's still passwords. There's still one access point. If somebody ever found out my master password, they could get into all my stuff.
Yeah, that's one reason why I haven't really used it that much.
Yeah, and there's some security risks with having everything in one place. It's more secure than just like having it on a unencrypted spreadsheet, but that's the way I used to do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people still do it that way.
Yeah. So
my favorite's always the sticky note on the monitor.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Super secure.
As long as nobody else gets in my office, it's okay.
Yes, it's bad when you work in a cubicle, though.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's one thing in my home office. It's something else when I'm in the cube farm.
Yeah.
So, cool. Well, that's that. Let's real quick hit what's new in your Android world, and then we'll wrap this bad boy up. Alex, what you got to do this week, man?
I have a really thin blue phone here, which I almost dropped. Almost dropped it again. It's the blue Vivo Air. It's like 5 millimeters thick. It's really, I guess I should say thin. It does have a headphone jack, like barely.
I was just gonna ask that.
Yeah, that's the first thing I looked for when I got it. It's not really a bad phone. It's got I'm not sure which MediaTek processor it is, but it's the octa-core one that they have. So it's 1.7 gigahertz. KitKat actually, not Jelly Bean on this one. So their skin's a little bit different compared to like the Life Pure stuff that they had. I haven't played with it a whole lot, but it seems pretty snappy. Also got a couple of speakers. So we've got the Rapu A300 here, which I just reviewed today. It's actually a really good speaker for the size. It's like $35. Has like 12 hours of battery life. And it has NFC on the back, which is really nice. Then there's the Rapu A500 here. It's a little bit bigger. I'm not sure on the price on this one, but it also has NFC. And we've got the Chromebook 11 here. This is the i3 model here.
Nice.
It's I have to say it's probably the best Chromebook out there right now.
What's the cost on that?
The i3 model is $379, and it comes with 4 gigs of RAM, and I think it's 16 gigs of SSD. It might be 32, but the big thing there is the 4 gigs of RAM. If you just want the 2 gigs, which I wouldn't recommend, that one's like $279. I think the 4 gigs on the Celeron is like $299 or $329, something like that. But the i3 is $379, and it's really fast. Lasts like 10 hours or so, which isn't as good as some of Acer's, but it's still pretty long.
And the performance is way better.
Oh yeah, well Acer has the i3 as well in the 720, and actually I think the battery life is about the same as it is in the Dell Chromebook. But it's a really nice one. It's really comfortable. Like the inside, around the keyboard, it's like soft touch plastic, so it's really comfortable to sit there and type on all day, like inside here.
Nice.
And then the keys are like perfectly spaced, so it's really easy. It doesn't feel cramped like a lot of 11-inch Chromebooks or laptops do. I actually really like it, and I'm not a big Dell fan, so that says a lot. I also got these headphones. These are the Audio Legacy headphones. They're Bluetooth and wired. I'm using wired right now because Bluetooth isn't always good for podcasts. And I really like them. Like, I think they're my favorite right now. And I think
Yeah, you said those were better than the Bose headphones that you have.
Yeah, I've got the both Soundtrue ones right here, and these are the ones I've been using pretty much since Christmas until a couple days ago when I got these. And I like these a whole lot more. The Bose ones are a lot lighter and probably a bit more comfortable, but these aren't too bad once you get used to them. They're a little heavier. Well, they are Bluetooth, so they're going to be heavier anyways. But they're not too bad. Kind of got used to them now. And that's about it that I've got.
Sweet. Cool, man.
Nice bag of swag.
Yep. Loaded up this week. That's awesome. Nick, what about you, man? What's new?
I have a Samsung Level Box mini speaker. I forgot to bring it with me in here, so it's in the other room. But so far, I like the thing a lot. It's $100 for that thing. It's all metal, so it feels really, really nice, and it looks really good. Sound quality is excellent. I think it's better than the other Bluetooth speakers I have. So I mean, for $100, I guess I would expect that because I don't usually spend that much on a Bluetooth speaker. But it's got all the goodies, NFC pairing, which I was impressed with. Again, that's another thing that I've never had on a Bluetooth speaker.
Makes it
and
so much easier, man.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, literally every phone, I'm just like, beep, done, pair. All right, cool. No pin codes, no bullcrap, no searching. It's great.
Yep.
It's not like pin codes are that inconvenient, but whatever. It's 2 or 3 less steps.
Yeah, I never had to use a pin code for any speaker. I just, tap the Bluetooth button, wait for it to find it, done. That's all I've ever had to do.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I have headphones too. I got the Plantronics Rig headphones from CES. These are the ones I've got on now. So these are really cool because they're like yours. They're Bluetooth, or they have 2 different wires. You have just the regular wire to plug in, so they're just headphones, or it has this little microphone attachment. It's the exact same thing. It just plugs out, goes to either a regular 3.5 millimeter jack, or it has a little Y splitter. So if you want to use it on a computer, like I'm using it now, for both recording and listening. They're super, super comfortable, and these are really cool because the way they're designed, you can literally bend them in half, twist them, do anything. Like they tried to have me break them at the Plantronics thing, and I'm sure if I stepped on them or did something obnoxious, I could have broken them. But just trying to twist them and bend them and stuff, you pretty much can't. They're really, really well built, and they're
awesome.
nice and padded and light too. So I'm happy with them. It's the first time I've used them.
Cool. That's what's up.
Great little first time, yeah. And then I got the ZTE. What is this? The Grand X Max Plus for Cricket. That's one of the Snapdragon 400 phones with a 1080p display. So far, I haven't run into any of the lag issues like you were saying on the other phone. I think it was a blue phone you said you reviewed. I had that.
Yeah. Performance on that guy was not as good, but
yeah, I've been really impressed. Like even playing stuff that I thought looked really good, like games and stuff, it ran great. So I don't know. That Snapdragon 400 is a beast. Every phone I've had it in surprises the heck out of me. And then the last thing, of course, is my bamboo back, which I don't want to brag on too much because I have no idea how to tell somebody to get it. So
You have to get an invite.
Yeah, my apologies, guys. I don't want to.
Yep.
Say too much about that.
All you OnePlus owners out there, Nick's just rubbing it in your face. He got a bamboo back.
I've had a few people respond saying they love theirs, so it's possible to get it. It's just not easy.
When I was in Beijing at Meizu's event, one of the guys there, he's actually from Shanghai. He had a bamboo back as well,
Nice.
but it's probably made there, so didn't have to do much for it.
Yeah.
I just looked it up. The X Max Plus is actually 720p.
Oh, is it? Okay. Well, there you go, Nick.
So I thought it was.
That's why the performance is better.
It's 1280 by
I
720.
I swore they told me it was a 1080p display at the thing.
They lied to you.
They might have and just got it wrong, man. I've done that a couple times. Had to go back and
If
correct.
it's a 720p display, it looks crazy good because it's 6 inches.
That's how the Z Max for T-Mobile looks, and it's 5.7 with 720p.
What
That
the
one,
heck?
it looks really good for 720p at that size.
You know, Antutu, I don't want to get too far into it, but Antutu told me it was 720p, and I've had Antutu give me the wrong resolution more than once before, so I just didn't trust it. But apparently it was right, so whatever.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's it for me.
Sweet. I don't really think I have anything new hardware-wise this week. Last week I talked about all those headphones, I think.
Yeah.
The Sennheiser and the Velodyne cans. I got some Sony. Did I talk about the Sony ones too?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I got like 3 headsets now. Plus the ones I'm wearing. But these Sony MDR V6s are still my favorite. App stuff. I pulled out Tiny Death Star. Was playing
Nice.
that. Hadn't touched that in a while, so I pulled that out again this week. And what else was there? There was something else.
Crossy Road.
Yes, thank you. Because you told me to check that out. You said it was just great, and it's super addicting.
It's
No.
stupidly addicting. I love it. It's advanced Frogger with Collectathon
Yeah.
and
Um,
and Google Play Games leaderboards, so you can't lose.
yep. But it's so mindless, and you can pull it out and play it for 30 seconds or a minute, or
Yep.
sit down for half an hour and you just go. And so it's great. But yeah, that's going to do it for the Android Headline Show, episode 92. Get at us on Twitter at Android Headline without the S, Google Plus and Facebook, and email. Let us know what you think. New show format, trying some different things. Always looking to try and get better. So, Nick, Alex, thanks for hanging out. It's always a good time.
Yep, as always. See you guys next
Later,
week.
guys.